that one needs to look into not just policing but intelligence failures which are taking place, and the type of crimes which are not simply violent related crime but drug related crimes which are increasing, men in uniform committing crimes. I think these are quite serious matters which shows a total failure of the Home Department. And I think that time it is time that people should be revamped. Perhaps some should be sent home, and they need to get good faces, honest faces. And when you put people who genuinely do work, those who are good investigative skills. I made this allegation in the assembly that good officers are in cold storage, and some of your your chamchas are being put over there, and that is why you don't have proper policing and you don't have proper intelligence. It's just because you want to placate somebody and perhaps you want to get something done through that person, you put them. But that is the contribution towards failure of the law and order situation in Goa.
So we have seen a lot of tourists are taking the law and order in their hand. What could be the reason? They are not scared of the law. This
I think the tourism ministry, I had once upon a time a very high regard that and a hope that our tourism minister would do real good work and even would really crack the whip and perform. But unfortunately, I've seen that he's not been performing. In fact, he's underperforming, and tourism is going down the decline, down the slope, and therefore it's on the decline. And I think he is answerable to it because you must realize when there's a railway crash. You remember last time, not this time, but the last minister, Suresh Prabhu, resigned on moral grounds. And I think you must accept these kind of situations and you should gracefully resign before you are sacked for your incompetence.
Do you think CM has failed as a home minister?
That is for you to make an assessment. But I say if the home ministry has failed, naturally he has to pull up the socks and make sure that it works in the right direction.
tourism minister should be resigned. You are saying?
I say that tourism, he should be relieved from the tourism portfolio. I said this in the morning. I reiterate my stand, and I won't change that because if you see, tourism seems to be going down the hill. It's not going good. We are spending money on foreign jaunts. We are going into places like New York, in Times Square. You are canvassing in Times Square, New York. Are they foreigners actually who are coming, or the Indians who have become OCIs? They're coming here for weddings and for other get-togethers here, because I want to see those actual Americans who are coming over here. That we don't see. We see very few of them who come. Very few who are curious. There are very few who just want to travel. Sometimes for spirituality, for yoga and other things they come. But it's not that kind of tourist which you would expect when we had charter flights. We had good tourists coming directly into Goa by these other flights, or maybe via Mumbai or Delhi, they came here. We had good quality tourists coming. Today, what kind of tourists are coming? Instead of coming by charter, we're getting tourists coming by tracks. Is this the type of tourists we are trying to bank on? They don't spend money. They bring their food. They cook on the roadside. They dirty the roadside, and also other things they do, which I don't want to speak about. And this is you're calling tourist footfalls. I don't think. And you are going to count the exposition. There were many people who came for the exposition. I think, if I'm not missing, Ali Sikera said about 85 lakhs came for exposition. If 85 lakhs are minus from then what? How many people came for actual tourism? So therefore, you have to see. See, I tell you one thing. First, you change the director of tourism because you acknowledge that you could not function effectively with the then tourism director. I don't know what was wrong with him. I thought he was a good man. I thought he was right, a genuinely person, genuinely looking into his department. But he was removed and somebody else was brought. I don't want to say the other one is incompetent, but what I want to say that is one indication that you are not happy with your functional department. Then you are trying to bring influencers inside. Did Goa any time when it was in its peak? Did it have influencers? There was never influencers, and we Goa managed, Goa survived, and Goa was number one internationally without any influencers. And today you are trying to get influencers. We don't know in what direction they are going, and sometimes these influencers can be read. You can see that they are paid influencers, and you have empaneled them, and you are giving them work. I don't think this is the way that tourism needs to be promoted. Every competitor will try to run its competitor down. And therefore, if this is something which is a natural phenomenon, I think our tourism department should gear itself to make something more different, innovative. We have good staff in there in the department, but instead of using the staff, you are now advertising that you will bring some consultant, like a consult. There is some this thing term I forget what they've used to guide the tourism promotion board, and it says the detailed tender is at a link which they're given. When I opened the link, I found nothing. I found a tender and says for queries you contact the department. Is this the way to give a tender? You have to tell what's the scope of the work, what's the period of the work, what is the payment which will happen, how the payment will happen, per task you do, or per year, per month, how will you be paid. Nothing is set out on that sheet. One page it is. And then says for further queries, contact the department. What is going on? Is this the way a tender is floated? And therefore, I say that if you have a vision which is a clear cut that you want to do good, you can achieve it. But taking foreign jobs, let us take you go to Cuba. Go to Cuba, how many Cubans will come here? You must find out whether they have money to come here also. You go there and you take a tour, but you will not get anything in return. There are people going in hordes to the Far East. There are people who are coming in hordes to other parts of India. Don't we need to go and encash on that and bring them, divert them, bring them to Goa and show what is special about Goa and what you're missing? I think if they do that, focus on that. There's a percentage. In 1 year, you may perhaps bring 5%. The next year, you can bring 10% of that. And once you give very good treatment to the tourists, I think that tourism will continue to flourish as it was before. Today, when tourist comes here, he's either getting beaten or he beats our people. Whether it's on in the shack, whether it's on the road, what is going on, we don't know. And I will tell you something which you will have seen. They stop on the road as if it's nobody's business. And if you ask them to move, they get out of the car and come to assault you. Is this right? Are these tourists? These people should be locked up immediately. This is not the type of tourists we want here. Some of them even come with flashy cars, wearing banyans and cheddis there, but they must be designer ones. We don't want this kind of tourists. You showcase all this in your place, let us see what you do there. So therefore, and I think you should start sending messages to tourists that this kind of nonsense will not be tolerated. You have now these influencers, start telling them what is going on, tell them we will not tolerate. There will be a time when the people will revolt and they will start attacking them in groups. I don't want that to happen because then that will kill tourism. And if the government doesn't step in with serious concern, I think that will be the end of tourism. Today, tourism is the only one which is the hand which is laying the golden, the goose which is laying the golden egg. We have, the BJP government has stopped mining. Now you're only selling these ores and then you're saying that some mining is starting. You stop, our economy suffered a lot. And today, if you're trying to milk the golden goose in the wrong direction, you're actually killing it. You will never get the eggs, the golden eggs. So therefore, I say, all this, how do you correct it? How do you clean up the system? You don't chuck out a peon, you don't chuck out a clerk. Head must roll from the top. Even if I say about the police, if you know, I've even repeated this. From the top, head must roll. It should not be from the bottom. Get some small fry and get him out. No. Therefore, I have made this justification to tell you if the rot has to be cleaned from the top, not from the bottom.
Carlos, one minister is saying that there is an increase in the foreign tourism. So why?
See, we are having some extra charters which are coming in. So people are coming. Does that give an indication that everything is good? I ask you one thing. These B&B, bread and breakfast, which have been increased, what is happening? The local, those who are set are having their business. There is not a problem for them. But about the three-star hotels, they are suffering. There are some other hotels which, because people are going into these flats, into these bungalows, and they are staying over there, the business is being suffered, loss is being suffered there. You understanding? So it's a circle, because if they give you business, they bring in revenue, they bring in taxes, and it works out very well in this way. But when you have privately people coming in, you don't even know if a terrorist is coming. And then what kind of a restriction? Because those guest house, those they give flats, or sometimes they give villas on rent. So where is the register to be maintained under the Tourist Act? And I will tell you one more thing. In the question which I had asked in the assembly about the number of tourists which have come, you see, if you look very carefully, at one place they say that 2023 data is yet being compiled, but they say that there is so many number of foreign tourists who come in. If you don't have that data, which country they have come from, how do you compile the total data? You are trying to play with us. You think that we don't understand it. And in another place, you have given figures which contradicts this statement here, where you have given thing by saying, but December and something you cannot give the figures because that has not been done. Why does it take 2 years of 2023 to where reached in 2025? Why does it take more than a year to get all your data? If tomorrow a criminal had entered and a criminal had disappeared, a criminal had committed a crime and gone away, you would not even have known. You want to tell us that you are sleeping? Because C form has to be filled in by every person who registers a tourist who comes in here. Any tourist, whether it's domestic tourist or an international tourist. And therefore, that form also has to be submitted to the police. And you don't have this data, how can it be? It means either you are inefficient and your department is failed. Therefore, you understand what I'm saying. And you just trying to give us an answer for the sake of giving us an answer on the floor of the house, it's even more sacrilegious.